My sister planted a tracker on my baby's dog to spy on me. Now I've gone, no contact, and her life is falling apart. I started dating my brother's best friend when I was 16. We stayed together until I graduated high school. He proposed then, but I turned him down. That sparked a lot of family drama, with many begging me to rethink things, offering ideas like a long engagement or even trying to fix my relationship with my brother. My brother, who's now 36, was hurt for a while, but eventually moved on. My sister, though, she's 32 now, never got over it. She was convinced my ex was perfect for me and made life miserable when she started dating his brother. My ex was invited to every family function by my siblings, even some holidays. I didn't say anything at first. He was their friend too, after all. But things crossed a line when my sister began forcing us back together. She pulled every trick in the book, setting us up on fake blind dates, assigning us the same bedroom during holidays. Just relentless. No matter what the event was, he was there. Eventually, I'd had enough. I asked my parents to step in. They spoke with my siblings and made it clear. Stop inviting him so much. And stop pushing. Things got a bit better. My brother backed off, but my sister didn't. Everything exploded when I met my husband while studying abroad. He went to a different university, but we were from the same country. We connected instantly. It felt magical. After a year of dating, we got engaged. Everyone in my family was thrilled, except my sister. She insisted I was just caught in the honeymoon phase and would snap out of it. I didn't. After countless arguments and her endless efforts to get me back with my ex, I warned her. I told her if she tried anything again, I'd cut her off for good. What did she do next? Made me her maid of honor, of course, and insisted I spend all my time with the bridal party, which included my ex. She even assigned one of her friends as my husband's date. We didn't realize what she was doing until we were at the reception, and that poor girl hit on him. My sister said since we weren't married yet, it was fair game to explore. I left the wedding immediately. The next day I spoke to my parents and brother. I told them I wouldn't force them to pick sides, but I was done with my sister, and if they tried to fix things between us, I'd cut contact with them too. My mom was heartbroken and tried to negotiate, but my dad and brother respected my decision. Aside from 2 attempts from my mom, I haven't spoken a single word to my sister in 6 years. No calls, no texts, nothing. She's tried everything to reconnect, gifts, emotional outbursts, but I don't engage. If we're at the same event, I act like she doesn't exist. In the beginning, she'd throw snide remarks or stir up drama, but since no one supported her, she eventually gave up. She had a complete meltdown when she found out she was invited to my wedding, but wouldn't be involved in the planning. My brother later told me he feels guilty for playing along for so long. His friendship with my ex has taken a hit. They still talk, but it's not the same. Then came my mom's birthday a few weeks ago. That's when I finally announced I was pregnant, our first child. Not the first grandkid, but the first granddaughter. Everyone was thrilled, everyone except my sister. My mom noticed and invited me for tea a few days later. Something felt off, but I tried to stay optimistic. The moment I pulled into the driveway, I saw my sister's car. Inside the house were my sister, her husband, my ex, and my ex's mother. Apparently they staged an intervention, saying my childish behavior had gone on long enough. My ex claimed he was only ever trying to be romantic, and said he understood that I never appreciated. His mom jumped in, saying I was just punishing my sister for wanting the best for me, and that she already apologized, so I should forgive her. I sat there, silently texting my dad, my brother, and my husband, barely able to process what was happening. Then, out of nowhere, my brother-in-law had the nerve to call me cruel and said I needed to grow up now that I was going to be a mother. That's when my mom pulled out a letter. She read it aloud, saying how heartbroken she was that her daughters weren't close, and while my sister had made mistakes, her intentions were good. Then my sister began reading her own letter. She broke down in tears and echoed the same rehearsed lines, remorseful but hollow. I didn't say a word. I just sat there, frozen, until my brother finally arrived. He was livid, more furious than I'd ever seen him. Without hesitation, he grabbed my things and turned to the room, telling everyone how deeply ashamed and disappointed he was. We waited outside in his car until my dad and husband pulled up. By that point, I couldn't hold it in anymore. I broke down in tears, and my brother just kept whispering over and over, "I'm so sorry." I'm still not sure what was said after I left, but I emailed everyone except for my mom with my lawyer's contact details. I clearly stated I didn't want any of them to reach out again, and if they did, I'd go straight to the police. No one has contacted me since, but my dad told me that my mom and sister are falling apart. They claim they just want to make things right and hope my sister can still be part of my daughter's life, maybe even be her godmother. My dad is currently staying with my brother. Both of them support me, but other relatives don't. I've even had mutual friends reach out, concerned about my sister's mental state and asking what really happened. Apparently, she's now spreading the lie that my husband is keeping me away from my family. I hate putting my private life out in the open, but I eventually posted a long Facebook status explaining the entire situation. My sister, her husband, and my ex are all getting dragged online now. It wasn't fully intentional, but I do think it's deserved. My mom has been inconsolable, which does make me feel guilty. Just not nearly as guilty as she made me feel with that so-called intervention. A few days ago, I agreed to meet with her. We had a serious conversation, and I laid out strict boundaries for any future relationship. That includes personal and family therapy, clear rules about sharing info with my sister, separate holidays, and, most importantly, a warning that if she crosses the line again, she's done for good. She said all of that was too much, but she's willing to try. She assumed it meant she'd instantly get baby updates and everything would be okay, but I told her this would be a slow process. She has to show she's changed. My dad and brother have completely cut off my sister and still apologize for not stopping everything sooner. I've forgiven them because they've owned up to it and genuinely moved forward. My husband backs me 100% no matter what I decide, but my MIL isn't sure if keeping my mom away from her granddaughter is the right move. Still, she says it's my choice. I'm really torn about what to do with my mom. Commenter: what's their logic now? Just because you're pregnant, you should forget everything and wake up to your happy ending being with your ex. What about your child? Does your ex and his family plan to raise her? OP. My sister now claims she's no longer trying to reunite us, but says I can't take away her right to be an aunt. She even called me a bad sister for being close to my sisters-in-law, who are absolutely wonderful people. Honestly, I don't believe her for a second. Commenter: so your sister could only be your best friend when you were dating your ex? OP. I wish I could explain it, but I have no idea how her mind works. My husband believes she may be mentally unstable. And my ex? The creepiest thing is he still owns the mixtapes and CDs I made him when we were teenagers. Those are nearly 2 decades old, and he's still holding on to them. Commenter: I'm honestly shocked your stalker ex, yes, I'm calling him that, is still even part of your brother's life. That said, don't budge with your mom. Set no deadlines. She needs to earn her way back into your life. Your sister has to live with the consequences. OP. To be fair to my brother, he did begin distancing himself from my ex once I told our parents how uncomfortable it made me. I was away at college then, but visited often. He made a huge effort to include my husband in everything, and that created a rift between him and my ex, who felt betrayed. These days, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends. My brother only talks to my ex now if it involves our nephew or out of pure politeness. Commenter: you need to recognize that your mom is a huge part of this. A big reason your sister hasn't stopped is because she knows your mom thinks it's okay too. OP. That's what hurts the most. My mom was always so sweet to my husband. Now I'm questioning their entire relationship. We're not Indian, and we don't come from a religious background. My parents were genuinely good people. Kind, supportive. At first, they thought it was a sweet love story, but over time, they realized it wasn't. They encouraged me to go to college and pursue my own goals. Now looking back, I realize my dad truly had my back, but my mom might have just pretended to be supportive while secretly agreeing with my sister. My sister always had this fantasy that we'd marry 2 brothers and become best friends for life. There's more context I've shared in the comments, but it's been too much to reply to everyone individually, so I'm sharing it here. My ex and I broke up when I was 18. He's 37 now. The breakup happened because I wasn't ready for marriage or engagement, not because of any drama. My sister's obsession comes from that old fantasy of us marrying brothers and being inseparable. My mom has always acted kind toward my husband, but now I'm starting to think it might have all been an act, and that's deeply painful. Since we broke up, my ex has been with other women. He even has 2 kids from a previous relationship, but never got married. According to my sister, that's somehow romantic, because it means he's only ever wanted to marry me. I also need to point out that his obsessive tendencies weren't only directed at me. From what I've heard, he was very similar with his children's mother. Now he's back to obsessing over me again, encouraged by my sister, who's trying to use him as a way to win me back and rebuild her image as a good sister. My brother did begin pulling away from my ex after I told our parents I was uncomfortable with how often he was around. I was away at college but visited frequently during breaks. My brother made a huge effort to welcome my husband into the family, and that ultimately strained his bond with my ex, who saw it as betrayal. These days, my husband is one of my brother's closest friends. My brother only speaks to my ex if it involves my nephew, my sister's son, or just to avoid being rude. Both of my parents seemed to support me when I said I didn't want my ex around so much, but apparently only my dad genuinely meant it. On the day of that awful tea party, my mom told him she was making my favorite tea and desserts, and that we'd be spending some quiet time together. Thinking it was sweet, my dad left to visit my uncle. Now he's furious. My husband gave my sister a real chance when they first met, but he's since stopped trying and now just ignores her. He believes she may be mentally unstable, and we're not sure if that's true, but even so, nothing excuses the way she acts. They invited my ex and his mother because, according to them, I needed to confront the root issue between my sister and me. At least that's the official excuse. Also, just to clarify again, we're not Indian, not religious, and there's no class divide between my husband and my ex. If anything, my husband is better off financially. We're the same race. My sister's obsession has nothing to do with culture, tradition, or money. As for my sisters-in-law, both my brother's wife and my husband's sisters, they are furious about everything that's happened. My husband and his sisters are now planning to have a serious talk with his mom about the awful comment she made. My brother and his wife are considering going completely no contact with my mom. In the meantime, they've decided not to let her see my nephews for a while. The more I reflect, the more I feel like I may have to cut ties with my mom too, for the sake of my child. My husband is heartbroken, realizing that every interaction his mother-in-law had with him might have been fake. He said what upsets him most is that she made me doubt myself, made me feel like I wasn't a good person. There are still so many conversations to have about my mom, but one thing is clear: I will be filing for a restraining order against my sister and my ex. I know none of it's true, but the words still triggered panic, so we sent her a formal letter outlining boundaries and consequences. My dad has officially moved out. He told her he couldn't stand by and watch her emotionally abuse her own child. My brother and his wife also decided to go no contact with her. I know all of this may sound sudden, but I think I've downplayed just how crushed and broken I was after that so-called intervention. After everything, my husband told them plainly, it was time to reflect on their values, their actions, and the kind of environment they were creating. And together, we made one thing absolutely clear: we would not raise our child in a toxic environment. He and his sisters also sat down with my mother-in-law and explained why her earlier comment was completely out of line. As many of you assumed, she is actually a kind woman from a loving family, and quickly understood the damage her words caused. My dad and brother keep apologizing for anything they might have done to contribute to this. My dad still can't believe it reached this level. He says the entire thing feels unreal. Regardless, both of them stand behind me and have offered to help however they can in case my mom or her team tries anything legally. My brother and his wife sat my nephews down and gently explained that Grandma is sick and tried to hurt Auntie Diamond and the baby cousin. They told them that Grandma won't be in their lives anymore, not because she doesn't love them, but because she made harmful choices. It was a hard conversation, but the kids are smart. They also explained that other auntie, my sister, isn't around anymore either. Luckily, the kids aren't upset about it. They've never liked her much, mostly because she's not good with them, not just because of me. My mom had a total breakdown when she found out. She started ranting that she had rights and would force her way into her grandchildren's lives. My dad is now actively searching for a permanent place to live, but will stay with us until January, mostly because my brother's mother-in-law is visiting and we have more room. He's heartbroken too. He's already contacted divorce attorneys, changed bank info, and taken care of all the paperwork. Even though my mom keeps bombarding him with emails, texts, and calls, he hasn't responded. His lawyer advised not to block her, at least for now. He briefly considered forgiving her, but just a few days after my last post, I had a sudden spike in blood pressure. Why? Because she showed up at my house with my sister. My sister had never been to my home before. My mom knew she wasn't welcome, but I guess that didn't matter to her anymore. Our cleaning lady, who knows my mom well, didn't know she wasn't allowed in anymore, so she let them in. I had just returned from running errands when I saw their car outside. I didn't even go inside. I called every family member I could. Thankfully, my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, was nearby. She arrived fast, confronted them, and gave them two choices: leave now or get the police called on them for trespassing. They left, but afterward, I felt sick. We went straight to the doctor, and I was told that all this stress was dangerous, and I needed to calm down or risk harming the baby. That same day, my dad, brother, uncle, and husband went back to my parents' house and gathered everything my dad could think of. My husband told me that my sister was there too, screaming at him and blaming him for ruining her family. My dad shouted back that they had nearly killed his grandchild, and he wanted nothing to do with either of them again. My sister has been desperately messaging my brother, begging him to help her fix things, but he's not budging. I feel broken over all of this, especially for my nephew. He's losing huge parts of his family because his mom is so deeply lost in her own fantasy world. But it is what it is. As for the custody and grandparent rights my mom keeps trying to use as threats, our lawyer sent her a formal letter. It made it clear she had endangered both my health and the baby's, and if she continued her harassment, we'd pursue legal action. My brother sent her a letter too, referencing how her constant messages to me have crossed the line. Both my mom and sister have refused to attend therapy. Whether or not they have mental health issues, it's now obvious they've been working together in this for a long time. My priority now is spending the holidays with the family I choose, focusing on my mental and physical health, and committing fully to therapy. First, I want to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for your support, your comments, your messages, and all your advice. You've helped us stay strong, and honestly, you made us even more cautious and aware than we already were. A few people asked how we found out the baby's gender. We announced it after the 20-week scan. The truth is, we waited to share the pregnancy because we'd gone through a loss before. Back then, we were just about to tell everyone when everything fell apart. So this time, we waited. We needed to feel safe, to believe it was real before letting the world in. And yes, we also hoped, maybe foolishly, that it would be something special for my mom. And you were right. After I posted about the pregnancy, I handed my phone to my husband, and he spent days reading all your messages, comments, and suggestions. It meant so much to us. We swept the house thoroughly, and luckily found nothing suspicious, but still didn't feel secure, so we packed up and moved into a hotel with my dad. That's when things took a terrifying turn. While walking our little dog around the hotel grounds, my dad ran into my sister, who asked him about me and whether I'd consider reconciliation. That's when we realized there was a tracker hidden in my dog's vest. He's a tiny pup who gets cold easily, so he always wears a little jacket. Never in a million years would we have thought to check there, but somehow they had planted a tracker on him. I was furious and scared, so we made the decision to move. Thankfully, we had the resources to make that happen. We're renting a new place for now and renting out our old house so it wouldn't sit empty. I used to adore that home, but now it feels ruined, like it carries a shadow I can't shake. Sadly, my parents' house feels the same, and I'm not the only one who feels that way. My brother, husband, dad, and even my in-laws feel the shift. We changed our phone numbers, bought new devices, and notified our employers, friends, and even the police. We also started therapy, both individual and family. My dad and brother carry deep guilt over everything, even though I've genuinely forgiven them. We're all healing together. Meanwhile, my mom and sister continue to insist they've done nothing wrong and refuse therapy. My dad, however, made a new will. My sister's son will receive a trust fund and part of the inheritance, but my sister herself will only receive a symbolic amount. He's truly finished with her. There was a time I felt sorry for her, but now, I'm focusing all my love and energy on my baby girl. She's here, and she's everything. It's not the experience I once dreamed of, especially without my mom around, but so many people have stepped up in ways I never expected. Friends and distant relatives have surrounded us with support and love. By the end, we became so paranoid that we began testing certain people. We'd tell them I was going into labor, and it worked. We found out exactly who was leaking information to my mom and sister. Those people were removed from our lives, and the rest understood once we explained. As for my ex, who my friends now call Bats, he started spreading lies that the baby was his. He claimed we had been having some sort of torrid affair, and that I was still hopelessly in love with him. No one believes him anymore. But still, my husband contacted Bat's employer and explained the entire situation. Long story short, Bats was suspended pending an internal investigation. I'm almost certain he'll be fired. The company has since reached out, asking for more details and expressing sincere apologies. My mom has been trying to locate us, but no one who knows where we are has spoken to her. Everyone has gone no contact. My dad's attorney sent her a formal letter stating that, due to her instability, any communication must now go through lawyers only. It's just been us and my dad lately. I felt bad thinking of him being alone, so we invited him to stay. He keeps reassuring me that none of this is my fault, and that he's perfectly okay, but I still feel terrible. He's been the world's best babysitter, bottle warmer, diaper changer, you name it. My nephews are as sweet as ever, and my dad even had a short visit with my sister's son. That visit happened because my sister began posting videos online, threatening to harm herself if my husband didn't stop keeping the family apart. My dad emailed her, saying he wanted to see his grandson, and warned that he would call the police if she followed through on her threats. Thankfully, that seems to have stopped the behavior for now. Finally, someone accused me of giving Bats false hope. That couldn't be further from the truth. I spent years feeling uncomfortable, silently wishing he would just move on. After I found the courage to speak up and met my husband, I spent even more time battling my sister over this nonsense. I had a long engagement because of all the chaos, which is why I married after my sister. Yes, I still love my mom and my sister, but I'm choosing a peaceful, healthy life for myself and my daughter over that love. Through this painful journey, I've discovered so much loyalty, kindness, and compassion from people I never expected. As strange as it may sound, I actually feel lucky that everything finally came to a head. At least now the truth is out. Sending big hugs to all of you. My dad has moved into the guest house on the property. We had many talks, both in therapy and outside of it, and agreed that while being close is good, we still need our own space. We're still renting out the old place for now. We'll figure out what to do with it eventually. These days, my dad gets all the grandkids together about 3 times a week. The only exception is my sister's son. Dad still has to visit him separately since she refuses to let him take the boy anywhere unless she knows exactly where he's going. Ordinarily, that kind of caution would be understandable, but given how unpredictable she's been lately, we're just not comfortable having her anywhere near us. My mom complained to the lawyers about how unjust it is that my dad still gets to see all the grandchildren, but legally, there's nothing she can do. About a month ago, my dad told me he had a confession, and I felt my stomach drop. Dear reader, he's been secretly paying for my nephew's schooling and babysitting. That's the only reason my sister still lets him visit the child. He felt deeply ashamed for hiding it and didn't want to keep secrets from me anymore. I told him not to feel bad at all. It wasn't wrong, and I understood. On Mother's Day, my dad received an email with a link to an Instagram video. It was some ridiculous emotional montage about how my mom had been abandoned by her family and how my sister was a saint for standing by her. It was pathetic and infuriating. I didn't react. I just forwarded it to our lawyer. In May, my dad officially filed for divorce. The process is still ongoing. My mom continues to insist he's wrong and that he'll see the truth. My dad, however, told us he'd rather drink bleach than go back to her. So I'd say it's pretty final. For Father's Day, my brother and husband took my dad out, and they had an amazing time. My sister spammed social media that day with dozens of posts, but they made sure my dad never saw any of it. We wanted him to enjoy his day in peace. They also did a little camping trip with the kids. By that, I mean they rented a suite at a hotel and set up a tent in the middle of the room for the kids to play in, complete with a tiny teepee for the baby. It was adorable. Honestly, becoming a mom is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. Seeing my husband be the incredible father I always knew he would be fills my heart. It's exhausting, but we are so lucky to have the support we do. I am endlessly grateful for the people who have stood by me through all of this. My sisters-in-law and I now have a shared calendar for playdates, activities, and milestones. All the kids get to participate in age-appropriate outings, and we always remind them that they don't have to spend time with anyone they don't like. Their voices matter. Right now they're completely obsessed with the baby and call themselves her protectors. It's sweet beyond words. We do brunches, mini get-togethers. Everything feels light now. Family time is joyful, not stressful, because my sister isn't part of it. I know it sounds harsh, but her presence just drains the room. Her energy sucks the joy out of everything. My mother-in-law also adores spending time with the baby. She stays overnight in the guest room about once a week. She always asks first, never pushes, and made it clear she doesn't want to take the baby for sleepovers. She just wants to be included. I feel seen and respected by her. And yes, I break down sometimes. I miss my mom, or rather, I miss the mom I thought I had, not the one who told me I'd be a terrible mother, not the one who called me hateful. My therapist says healing is a marathon, not a sprint, and to focus on the good. I try to. Speaking of good, Bates was fired. Not only was he let go, but his entire professional reputation is scorched. Nuclear-level damage. His brother's reputation also took a hit, but since Bill works in a field that doesn't care as much about image, he still has his job, for now. Bates sent me a 12-page, double-sided, single-spaced letter. In it, he claimed he was devastated, that I'm denying him what's rightfully his, and that my husband is so scared of him that he had to ruin him professionally, since he couldn't defeat him in any other way. I say claimed because I didn't read it. My lawyer did and gave me the summary. I've also heard, through people who tell me things unsolicited, because they know he's stalking me, that the mother of his children moved away. He apparently said that was for the best. The man doesn't even care about his own kids, yet wants to pretend he's meant to play house with me and my daughter. Unfortunately, he's not exactly facing any real consequences. He's not homeless or struggling, because his mommy let him move back in with her. So no, he probably won't learn a damn thing from all this. Not the most dramatic update, I know, but this is where things stand. Oh, and one last thing. My husband burned or donated every single item that was ever given to him by my mom or parents. My dad fully supported the decision. He said life's too short to keep a single piece of her in our space, not even as a memory. Comment from a reader. He didn't need to do anything directly related to his job to lose it, not in a field like his. Without naming specifics, it's a small, tight-knit industry where your reputation is your currency. Once people start to question your character, you're out. Bates had carefully built this image of being a distant but respectable feminist single dad. Even lied to co-workers about how long we were together, just to make himself look more stable than he really was. When the truth started leaking out, his whole facade unraveled. Commenter: I'm reading your entire post from the best of Reddit at 1:30 a.m. here in India. I have deep respect for what you've endured and sympathy for your situation. I hope your baby grows up to be as kind and strong as you. I also hope this chaos ends soon, and you can reunite with your mom after her fantasy clears. Much love, OP. That's a beautiful sentiment, and I appreciate it more than I can say. But I'll never speak to my mom again. I miss her, yes. I cry often, but she's not the person I thought she was. My daughter deserves the best possible family, and my mother isn't part of that. It breaks my heart, but I have to protect my child. Long time no see. I've got a few updates, mostly good ones. Before anything, I just want to thank you all for your kind words and messages. Every time I log in, I'm overwhelmed by positivity and support, and I appreciate it deeply. I don't know if anyone's still reading, but for those who asked, here's where we are. My parents are officially divorced. It took months of arguments and dramatic tantrums from my mother. She got the house and a lump sum payout, but that's all. My dad, on the other hand, is like a brand new person. We're all so happy for him. Quick flashback. When all the chaos went down, we didn't fire our cleaning lady. She's someone who's worked with my husband's family for decades, and I was really anxious about her losing work because of my family's madness. Also, we're not messy slobs. She's not on her hands and knees scrubbing floors. She's family. My dad spoke with her personally and told her she was being put on a paid break until we moved into our new house. He made sure she knew she wasn't fired and that we'd love to have her back if she wanted. She was touched, and so was her family. Funny twist? Her sister owns a nail salon, and my dad is now dating her. She's a wonderful woman with grown kids of her own, so she understands the complicated family dynamics we're navigating. My dad made it clear he's not moving or remarrying, and she's perfectly fine with that. She loves her independence too. They're happy, and we're happy for them. Of course, when my mom found out she nearly had a stroke, she went on and on about how it was just a late-life crisis, and that he must be acting as some kind of sugar daddy. That's what I've been told anyway, since I'm still completely no contact with her. Last I heard, she's struggling financially. She was never great at budgeting and relied heavily on my dad, who's now cut off her access to lavish spending. My sister isn't doing much better. My dad used to quietly help her with money for my nephew's sake, but that ended too. Why? Because things got really bad. My nephew, the same one my dad was supporting, started calling my daughter the affair baby. He told the other kids that she wasn't with her real dad. He called my husband's nephews delusional. At a birthday party, he pushed one of my husband's nephews and said, "You're not her real cousin. I am." The kids were confused, hurt, and immediately told an adult. My dad had a one-on-one talk with him, but the boy doubled down. When he confronted my sister, she shrugged it off and said, "What can I do? Kids always tell the truth, don't they?" That was the final straw. My dad told her that until she takes responsibility and there's real change, he's cutting her off. She panicked and cried, but stayed stubborn. Now my nephew is attending public school, and all financial support has stopped. My husband urged my dad to cut ties, and he listened. As for Bates, he's still unemployed. I was vague before, but now I'll clarify. He worked in a field connected to vulnerable women. Some aspects even touched on stalking prevention. The irony is staggering. That's why he was let go. His employer didn't want the scandal tarnishing their reputation. Since then, I've received 2 more long, handwritten, rambling letters, both sent to my lawyer, since that's the only address he still has. So now my amazing attorney gets the joy of reading them, filing them, and never saying a word unless it actually matters. Honestly, he's a champ, and I couldn't be more grateful. Other than gossip and occasional weird looks, I haven't had many direct issues with Bates recently, except one unsettling moment. I was at the grocery store when a random woman walked up to me and asked if my daughter was Bates's baby. I was stunned, completely speechless. I asked her what she was talking about, and she said he had a photo of me and the baby on his profile, and that I should be ashamed for hurting such a good man. Turns out, Bates is still telling people my child is his. He's spinning this narrative that we had some epic, tragic love story, and that I secretly still love him. All of that is old, tired nonsense. But what really shocked me was the photo she mentioned. It wasn't a picture that had ever been posted publicly. It was something we had only shared once in a private family group chat. I told my husband right away. He was furious, but calm and focused. We made a plan to smoke out the leak. Long story short, it was my dad's 2 sisters who had been feeding info to my mom. My dad was crushed. He didn't even hesitate. Cut them off immediately. They've been begging him ever since to reconnect, but he won't budge. Meanwhile, my brother and his family are doing great. We see them often, and we've even spent a few holidays together since the last update. There's still fully no contact with our mom and sister. My sister-in-law is actually relieved about it. She admitted she never liked our mom much, but kept quiet to keep the peace. My in-laws continue to be incredibly kind and supportive. We've even started allowing my MIL to have overnight babysitting, and she's absolutely thrilled. Some nights, she has all her grandkids sleeping over, and they're ecstatic about it. She used to be a flight attendant, so their favorite game is playing airplane, with her pretending to be the pilot. They adore her, and we fully trust her. We never worry when our daughter is with her. She did have to make her social media accounts private, though. My mom kept stalking her online and it became too much. I'm sure it's jealousy. My mom brought this all on herself, and now she can't stand watching us be happy without her. Lastly, my husband continues to be my rock. He keeps me grounded, even when little triggers pop up. We've started talking about whether we might want to have another baby, or possibly adopt. We haven't made a decision yet, but it feels amazing to even be able to have that conversation. We're lucky. We have a beautiful support system and the privilege of building our life with people who love us. Still, I miss my mom, often. There are moments where I cry because I can't share milestones with her. She's still my mother, and that grief lingers. But the truth is, she's not a good person, and the safety and peace of my family will always come first. Last little fun fact, this Father's Day, we actually went camping. It went really well. Aside from a few nasty mosquito bites and some awkwardly placed sunburns,